When I started at FDM as a manager, one of the first things I've done, and I think anyone in this room would do the same thing, is you tend to dissect the recruitment process. And one thing we're good at FDM is we track everything, every single possible numbers, and look at our entire recruitment process to see where were there areas of gaps in our process that we can actually, if we increase that volume or that success a little bit more, we can get a bigger output. One of the first key things that we saw was our video interview platform, and we're a customer of Launchpad, and working very closely with Launchpad, I think one of the areas that we saw was a completion rate with our video interviews. And one of the things that came out of that was the education piece. Our recruiters are very new, and thanks to Launchpad coming in and helping us train our recruiters to be more efficient to get those candidates through. But the other big area was our success rate on assessment centers was quite low. And we do all that work to get a candidate through the complete process. Is what can we do a little bit better in our assessment center, be more efficient, maybe automate the process a little bit better to have a better candidate experience in our assessment center. And before we had to go through assessments, then interviews to get hired, but now our phase 2 rollout is automated assessments with our ATS integration, and we're in the process of going through a new ATS, which we go live next week. So if any of you have made that transition to a new ATS, you probably understand how stressed I am right now. But now integrating with our ATS, we can actually have the candidates do the gamification before they even come into the assessment center. It's just downloading an app and doing it from home. So we now have the opportunity to send candidates the verbal reasoning and numerical reasoning tests and bring forward into the assessment center automatically. So once they pass our video interview with Launchpad, they'll automatically get sent the link to take the test, and if they're successful on those tests, automatically get put forward into the assessment center. And what's great for the candidate experience, it's just fast tracking, but the candidates go into that assessment center knowing, wait a second, I'm already halfway there. I've passed these tests, I've scored in the top 50th percentile of the tests, and those tests are telling me that actually I have a good chance of being successful based on the data. Those candidates that aren't successful, what's really great about the gamification piece is it collects a lot of data. So if you're not successful, the system will automatically send the feedback report to the candidate, giving the candidate that feedback of where they kind of fell down on, so that candidate can actually learn. It's branded by FDM. And I think our model with FDM that we always take in consideration is, for us, we deal with a lot of candidates, and we want to help the candidates find their careers, whether it's with FDM or not. If we help that one person find the next career, even though they weren't successful with FDM, we feel like we're playing our part in the job market and helping those find careers. So the fact that we can now automate and give them that feedback so they can actually learn from that feedback, that hopefully they go into their next interview and smash it, right? So this is what we're looking at now with our new ATS is, after the successful pass of a video interview, the candidate through the integration will get an automatic email sent to them with the links to download the app, to take the test. If they pass that test, they get then put onto the assessment center. The candidate then comes into the assessment center. They're doing one test, which is our IT aptitude, which we are in the process of working with Higher Success to actually get that test online as well. So hopefully they won't even need to do any tests when they come in. But essentially at the moment, we're planning on one test for that hour, and then they go into 3 interviews. So we're even really shortening that process. And I think that's just giving the candidate just a better experience, a better journey, helps build their confidence a little bit better going into that assessment center. With the most ultimate goal here at the end of the day is 25% less candidates interviewed, more candidates actually hired, and it'll actually create some lower costs. So that's a little bit different. I wanted to kind of share with you the art of what's possible. There's so many things out there that you can automate. I think it's important for you to really look at your recruitment process and find where are the areas of opportunity to automate without actually losing that personal touch at the same time as well, which we had a lot of conversations about on our table about that. We don't have a huge brand. A lot of people in this room didn't know who FDM was. We're in the big 5 when it comes to the graduate market and hiring graduates, but we're not an EY or Deloitte or Enterprise Rent-A-Car who do those mass volumes. So for us, it's building that relationship with the candidate, letting them understand a little bit more about FDM, what we do, really checking that career alignment and finding out what is it that you want in a career, and really getting to know that candidate and determining, are they right for our process, for our business, and then start bringing them through the recruitment process. And as they get further through, automate maybe the back end using Launchpad's technology, WCN's technology. There's a lot of different technologies out there that you could put in place to fast track the back end of your recruitment process and make the front end personal. Candidates want that personal touch. We talked a lot about that. So provide that, but then give them that experience of being put through a recruitment process quickly. I think sometimes when I have put candidates through quickly and then you offer them the job, I don't know how many in this room got that response of, oh, wow, that was quick. I didn't realize I'd get an offer that quick. And I think candidates don't expect sometimes to be put through the process so quickly. There's a lot of surveys out there. One of the surveys I looked at with Institute of Student Employability, which used to be the AGR, their survey shows that the average length of hire is about 6 weeks. So candidates are applying with the impression that it is going to take a little bit of time to get through the process. So yes, we all as employers want it shorter because we're looking at time per hire, but I think we also need to find the balance for the candidate as well and giving them time to really reflect on the journey they're going through with your company. We use our video interview platform. We also hire ex-forces and returners, and we do use that technology. Actually, it works really well for us in that space, because if we're hiring a returner, and it's for men and women, but particularly the women that go through our returners program, they have the kids during the day. We find the video interviews are quite useful. When kids are at bed, they're quiet, they can actually sit there, take the time and do the video interview. A lot of our ex-forces that come through the program, some of them are still deployed. So we get our video interviews back from all over the world because the time changes. So yes, I think video interviewing, absolutely, I would support that with more of the senior market as well. But what's really great, and we talked about it on our table, is that when you're dealing with hiring managers, and we all have probably those controlling hiring managers, although the candidate's gone through all this process, you're like, oh, I really want them to meet this person. And next you know, you have an added step in the process. And at least with the video interview, you can actually share that video interview to your hiring manager and say, well, actually, instead of bringing them in, why don't you watch this video interview? And hopefully that would kind of eliminate that. Everything is a little bit of a process. Some of the automation, you're going to have to add some integration. So it's not as easy as we all think it is. And of course, it's going to cost some money as well. So it really depends on your budget. So I wouldn't really necessarily have a definite answer of what you can actually take away and implement now with automation, but I think what I can tell you that you can take away is dissecting your recruitment process and really finding the right part in your process that you want to add automation, and then you can focus on that and then go to your hiring managers to ask for the money and say, based on this, if we automated this part of our process, we're going to save X amount of time, X amount of money, and actually get more people through the recruitment process that are right fit. So, looking at data with gamification, can you find the right game that proves the best predictability for you? If so, then add that to the front part of your recruitment process. We talked about one of our people at our table having 350 applications in Africa for one role. Adding a piece of maybe a verbal reasoning, that data will show you that top 50 percentile of those candidates are more likely to pass an interview. You can immediately short that down at the very beginning of your process, and just adding something very similar, simple, but different. Our candidates that do our gamification, I always ask them, so, oh, how'd you find the pirate ship game? Or how'd you find the office-based game? Like, it actually really threw me. I actually found it really cool and different. And little stuff like that you add to your process that will actually create some buzz in your recruitment process, where those candidates are going to tell other people that, oh, I had an interview today. Oh, who with? FDM. I was like, oh, what'd you do? I was like, they had me play games. I don't know what they were assessing, but I was playing games. And, and that's part of our selection process. And we are an IT company at the end of the day, so we want to incorporate more IT into our recruitment process.